It's awesome to be chatting with you, mate. Like, how are you, sir?
I'm really good at the moment. I've kind of came back from post in Bulgaria about 3 months ago. I was living in Sofia. So we shot the film in Greece, over the road from Bulgaria. I guess it's the next state. And that is just a 3.5 hour drive to Thessaloniki, which is where we shot the film. But after that, we then moved post production to Sofia, where the studios, New Boyana Studios, were set. And then I kind of lived in an edit suite there for 6 months, and then I came home about June. God, time
Wow.
flies, I'll tell you that.
Jeez, mate. Well,
So now
look.
back here, got all the winter. Managed to scrape into a few footy games. I got to thank that AFL Footy Pass too, because I was able to watch the games overseas. And then just getting on with it. Now I'm writing. I've just finished another script, one of
Amazing.
my own. So I'm just about to click send on that too.
Amazing. Well, let's talk about Enforcer because I fucking love this movie, and people that listen to my show know that I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. Like, I actually
Oh,
love
thanks, brother.
it's right up my alley, this type of movie. So I want
Yeah.
to just give a bit of context for the people listening. Like, what is your story? I know you began making commercials, but how did you end up going from that to making like a kick-ass action film with Antonio Banderas?
Oh, look, man, it's a bit of a crazy one. So, I mean, initially, I came out of film school. I did a couple of years at RMIT, and it was good, but I kind of really, enough of the theory. I just really wanted to get out there, and I knocked on Channel 7's door, and I started, got a job there editing sports cuts during the AFL season. So I worked there for 7 years, but on about my fourth, fifth year, I started picking up the camera a lot and started shooting a lot of stories. And then kind of from there, I was like, shit, I don't know. Sorry, is there swearing here? I don't
Yeah,
want to.
go for it.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
your life,
Well, I
mate.
thought, oh, fuck, I might as well make a short here because I was starting to feel like I always wanted to be a director, but it takes a bit of time to find out who you really are. And I was about 27 at that stage. So after doing shorts, I kind of pushed that. My first short got into Sydney Film Festival, which was kind of fun. And then opened a little production company where we really did a lot of viral stuff is what exploded us. So I was doing a lot of viral marketing stuff. So we created about 10 clips that got about 1 billion views on YouTube. I don't know. My face is on one of them. I'm the tornado guy that's doing a selfie in front of a tornado. So that kind of lived a little life for that. And then off the commercials, my whole game was just to make a feature. And then when I kind of closed that company down, I had a kind of choice to make myself. It was either go down the track of advertising, which can get a little deteriorating, it's kind of eats your soul a little bit, but it's what puts some food on the table, I guess. And then so after that, I wrote a script, and that was called Punk, and I sent that off, and it was the first script I've ever written, like just me. And through that, man, I attached Cara Delevingne, and I was in the States having these crazy meetings, and that was about to get up. And then COVID came, as I was explaining before, and it kind of shut the gates on a lot of production because all the film studios for like a year and a half. So that kind of dissipated a little bit. And as I said before, I was driving trucks just to pay rent at that stage. So I keep it coming in. And then but because I was close to getting up with a company called Millennium and New Boyana in Sofia, I became quite close with the studio head, Yariv Lerner, and we just stayed in loose contact. And he called me up, and I was camping one day in Wye River. And I mean, film's my passion. That is it for me. It's like a sickness. I can't shake.
Tell.
So you either got it or you don't. But if for anyone that wants to know, how hard it can get, it gets really hard. And this industry is filled with people who tap out. So as long as you don't tap out, you might get that call. And when I was in Wye River, I got a message from Yariv, and it was, hey, can you get it to any reception? So I went onto the lawn pier there because there's not much reception down there. And he pretty much, I said, hey, mate, and I had a feeling something good was happening because nothing good had happened in about a year. So I thought, and he's like, hey, do you want to, odd question, do you want to direct a movie with Antonio Banderas shooting in 5 weeks? And I was like, what? Yeah, sure. what's the script? So, look, he sent me the script, and then I pretty much drove down to Melbourne that night, read the script, had to make some changes and modernize it. It was a cool script, but it was just probably a little bit dated, like written 15, 20 years ago, and the world's changed a lot since then, as we know. So we just modernized it a little bit, set it in Miami. It was originally set in New Orleans and kind of kept the same thematic. And then they were like, well, if you want to shoot in Miami, we could shoot in Greece. There's some great tax breaks there, and it's around the corner. So I was like, wow. So I went from driving trucks to suddenly on a plane with my girlfriend at that time. And we were landing in Greece and stepping straight into pre-production and casting and everything. So it kind of, once that ball got rolling, it was great. But I had a great team around me. It went really well.
Yeah,
so man, that's how I got the call, man.
That's incredible, and you've preempted so many questions I have, which is fantastic.
Sorry, brother.
No. It's great. It means there's no awkwardness of me like trying to shoehorn something into the conversation.
Yeah. But, that's fine.
But like all your commercial work explains why the movie looks so deliciously highly stylized. Like, was there a shock to the system going from driving trucks to suddenly you're in the world of feature films? Like, was it what you anticipated?
Look, I've been on some big ad sets and stuff like that, but really, nothing really gets you prepared for film. The big number one thing for me, I'm a very visual director, and as much as this is me stepping in on an opportunity to direct a movie, it's not particularly my script from the get-go, but I was like, I'm going to make this the best thing I can do with it, and I think it's a ball terror, and I'm going to make it a visual masterpiece. And as long as I can have my DNA in it and set my career up. So when people have a calling card and they go, Rich Hughes, oh, he made that. And it's like every film I want to do has a lot of heart in it. And I always want to feed that through. But when I landed there, I mean, man, we were living straight out of the Hyatt for 5 months. I think I stayed in the Hyatt in Greece. So it's pretty good. I didn't have a bag. And I had a huge pool. It felt like I was living on a golf links. So we were in Thessaloniki, which is a place I'd never heard of, but apparently everyone in Thessaloniki, when I went there, were like, oh, where are you from? Like, Melbourne. They're like, oh, the third biggest Greek city in the world. I was like, oh, yeah, it is, because about 6 of my mates are Greek, and we've been calling each other Malakas for years. But if you mention the word Malaka in Greece, they really it's like the C word. He's here. Florida. Yeah, I think it's kind of offensive, so I didn't do it too much, unless I had a couple of beers in me. But yeah, man, jumping straight in, there was no time. I was doing rewrites as well with a good writer friend of mine called Luke Bouchier. He's in Sydney. He's also an ad director. So I couldn't have done it by myself in that respect with the amount of time. So I brought a talented friend of mine with me, and we really hit the ground running. So we were kind of like a couple of cowboys just attacking this thing. But I had a great producing team behind me. And look, they were guiding me through the process, because it's all well and good doing a 2-day, Pura Milk ad in bloody Ballarat or something, and you're in and out in a few days, and it's like a week's work. But this is a different ball game. So it's kind of like 5 weeks pre, and then you've got to go with, I think it was like 32 days or 28 days or something. Shoot. But God, it doesn't stop, mate. And it's hell to the leather to the hell. I can't even pronounce my words now. But it never really stopped, mate. It was so much fun, and the energy on set. I'm all about keeping the big energy on set, and keeping it fun. Because in the end, we're making a movie, and it's something that I do not take for granted, because I've seen what the other side is like too, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it can get gritty and hard as well for everyone's profession. So it's something I really hold close to my heart, and I really wanted to make a good impression, and that's what it was about. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, for sure. My favorite, I think, action/fight choreographer is probably Isaac Florentine, and I kind of feel like some of the stuff that you've done in this film is very much from that sort of same ballpark of what he does. Were there any influences that you drew upon to sort of stage and choreograph your action and violence?
Not so. I mean, look, not so much choreograph, because this is a new kind of theme to me. I've been growing up on action films my whole life. Die Hard 1's probably still one of my favorite films of all time. But I think some of the films that, there's some Tony Scott elements of Man on Fire in there.
Definitely.
And elements of Equalizer. I mean, I'm a massive Denzel fan as well. You can't help yourself. So a lot of both of those films carry a lot of heart as well, which I find important because, I mean, John Wick does it as well. Although that's mega action. They got the world at their feet. The only thing that was stopping me was time, you know? So you only got so many time. But when you've got a huge franchise like that, you can really push it to the next level. So, look, man, I had an amazing stunt team of these crazy Bulgarians, hardly spoke a word of English, and they were nutcases. And they were built of, like, black belts, karate dudes, taekwondo, jiu-jitsu dudes. And then I don't know if you know that first opening fight scene, Hu Mojan, the Aussie actors, he's fighting one of the stunt guys, and he's just like this brick shit house dude that looked like he was from the UFC. But then again, and then the other, Antonio's body double, he's an Ilko, he's amazing. He's sponsored by Red Bull, and he jumps off cliffs doing base jumping. Oh, it's just, there's a wealth of knowledge up in those mountains. I mean, in Australia, we kind of have a little bit of that, but they've just got something in the water up there, and they're a lot more hard-nosed, and, you know, they're big people, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Antonio Banderas as well, he's jumping right into the action pool lately. Like, he's getting his hands, you know, dirty with this stuff. And
getting blood on the knuckles.
Mate, what's he like to work with? Because I thought, you know, this was the movie made for him. It was great.
Look, he's a funny one because I had the same thing. I'm like, what's he going to be like? And I'm like, you know, I could get the feeling everyone's probably gone up to him and going, man, Desperado. But he too, when I had dinner with him, told me, he's like, we made Desperado on a budget of like $300,000, Richard. And the people who've been shot in that movie were shot multiple times, and they put wigs on, they dressed them like women. So it's just everyone kind of has been through the same journey, and to hear that from him, but he's probably one of the kindest, nicest kind of people in the industry that I've met. I mean, I haven't met any big players like that, but he's just a class act, and he puts, no matter what film or what project it is, he has so much passion for it, and he really cares. And he had a lot of patience with me as well, understanding that it was my first film as well in terms of features. So to be able to just sit in the truck with him every day, we had a kind of green tea every morning in his truck, and he'd show me photos, family photos, and show me his theatre school in Malaga and all these things. I got a really personal relationship with him. But when he was on set, he's just bang. And also had some great ideas. So he was a really, really lovely guy. But it did get to a point where to get the movie green, I had to sell. They were like, this phone call, the producer's like, Rich, this phone call's big. You got to nail this. You got to. And if there's one thing I'm good at, it's phone calls. And I had him jumping out of his seat. He's like, Gabriel, I got to work with this guy. I got to work with it. So then I hang up the phone. I was like, almost a mic drop. Drop my phone. I'm like, there's your guy. We're done. Antonio's coming, and then he came the next 2 days, and yeah, it was lovely. It was lovely. He's got a wealth of knowledge, and he's such a genuine person. I can't wait to catch up with him again one day.
That is freaking classic. And I think that's another thing that sets this film apart, is that quite often these type of action films, you can tell when the lead is phoning it in and it's just a paycheck, but this actually felt something sincere and important for him.
Yeah, it did. And I think it kind of translates through the script and the heart involved. And it's like those films. I mean, you know, I mentioned it before, but Man on Fire is such a beautiful film. The thematic, the moral compass, you know, and that's what this film revolves around, is a man that isn't exactly a great person, but he's ready to turn a leaf. And the way I always put it and pitch it to people is like, what's Antonio's character? And it's like, imagine if Tony Montana never died, what would he be doing today in Miami? And that is what Cuda is. And he's an older guy, older statesman, and the wealth of, you know, young crime and the dark web and the underswell is something he can't really understand. And when it kind of crosses his moral compass, which is, you know, messing with kids, it's something he's going to do about it. So, you know, I think he's great for action, and he does all his own stunts, and fighting is all in there. So he was great.
Yeah, cool. Couple of things I want to touch upon before I let you run. You touched upon the script earlier and how you had to spruce it up. And if people aren't already sold on this film already, like the fact is that original script was written by Peter Illiff, who
I know,
a titan, a titan.
Yeah, like, a titan. Point Break. I know. He sent me a lovely email saying, "Mate, I wrote this film 15 years ago and I've been trying to get it up." And I wrote an email like, "Mate, it's an absolute pleasure." And he even said, he goes, "Man, I watched your short films too online. I love them." And I was like, "Oh my God, this is Peter Illiff." So no, it was an absolute honor to kind of collaborate in that way and be able to take it off his hands and turn it into something that we're both really proud of. So I'm just all eyes and ears because, it came out in the States. I just miss the releasing worldwide at the same time. This staggered streaming thing, something I'm going to wrap my head around, man.
Yeah.
But I'm still thankful to just be able to see it. But we watched it at my brother's. My brother's a director too, so we watched it on his big screen. He's a little bit more established than me and a bit more bald as well. So he has a big projector screen, so we kind of watched it as a family. It was really nice.
And he's no stranger to Millennium Media either. So, you're both in the same
No,
fraternity.
well, that's kind of how I got a little bit of the meeting. When he was doing Hitman's 2, Hitman's 1, Hitman's Bodyguard 1, he was doing pickups and he was a little bit lonely. He'd been over there for 10 months. So I went over there and visited him. And I went to visit him and he just went go-karting and said, "You're looking after the unit." So I was there on set. But it gave me the ability to sit next to Yariv, and that whole time, mate, I was just pitching my own stuff. And I was doing cutaway shots of hands on guns, passing a passport. And I was a hand double for Ryan in that, like with a gun trigger and stuff. So it's funny how it all works like that, isn't it? But
totally.
They're great people over there, and they're really, really eager, and action's their kind of number one little pocket. But for an independent film company now, they've just turned into a mega beast, and they've got some big films coming out as well. So
absolutely,
I got to say, when I finished filming in Greece, it's weird, when the energy leaves on the set, it's like all the camp leaves. I was still editing in Greece for a few months, and I was in the Hyatt, and it was just empty for a week. And then my producer goes, "Oh, we're going to be all moving in there for Expendables 4. So that was shooting in Greece too, because they're building studios out there in Thessaloniki. And I'm like, "Oh, cool." Suddenly all the energy comes back because all these new crews are coming in. And I'm sitting in there like, "Oh, who are these people? This is cool." Because I'm still a kid in Disneyland. All of a sudden, I'm going back to my room and I walk past 50 Cent. I was like, "You're kidding me." So I had to go and grab a little selfie from him. I was unashamedable. And he did. I don't want to go, "Oh, bro, I'm some filmmaker. I did the last." That's desperate. I was like, "Bro, massive fan, thanks." I just probably thought I was a dude going for a sunbake, but it was really cool experience, mate.
That's hilarious, mate. I'm thrilled that this stuff has taken off for you, mate. It sounds like
thank you, man.
Couldn't be more well deserved. And I want to give you the final word here, like just to pitch Punk. Is that still happening?
Yeah, it is, mate. It's now got a name change, Gangway, and I've just rewritten it. But it's about a bunch of train surfers robbing banks and escaping on the rail of freight networks around North America. It's high octane, and I'd say I've gained a really close relationship with someone from Euphoria, and it looks like they're going to be banging into that too. So that's a little Easter egg for you.
Amazing. What a great chat this has been. Like, I've had a great time talking to you. I could probably pick your brain for hours on end.
Oh, that's fine, mate. Anytime you want, give me a call, brother. All good.
Will do. So thank you so much, and good luck with what's next, mate.
Oh, cheers, mate. Thank you so much.
You have been where I am right now. I'm a made man. Tonight you are nobody. Cora, when did you get out? There is no space for mercy.
Hey.
Let's go.
You've been making quite a name for yourself in the art fights. I used to be like you. A fighter. You're right, is here. The mentor and his protege.
You gonna fill me in?
Gambling debts.
Give me
Lady. What's your name?
Billy,
Where are you from?
Atlanta.
It's a long way from home.
You bring all your dates here, huh?
Every single one of them.
Do you have any kids?
A daughter, just your age.
What do you do again?
The room has been paid for until the end of the week. Take care of yourself.
Looked like you didn't sleep last night.
He made a runaway. He gave her some money, put it in a hotel, and now she's done.
Just don't think there's anything you can do about it.
She's someone's daughter.
Those are some dangerous people.
I can't leave her there. She's 15 years old.
Is everything okay?
It's a money factory.
Oh, it's much more than that.
I know what kind of world it is out there. I've seen it, lived it, just like those girls. And I survived.
I trusted you.
I came here to save you.
I got nothing to do with it.
You have everything to do with it.